Thank you, councillors, members of senior staff and the press. A warm welcome to you to the December meeting, the last meeting of Temora Shire Council for 2022. And I declare the meeting open. This meeting is being recorded and will be placed on Temora Shire Council's webpage for public information. All present today, of course, we're reminded that whilst we're speaking, that we're agreeing that our views and our comments are being recorded and published, and we're also reminded that if or when we're speaking, we're of course to be respectful to others and use the appropriate language. Temora Shire Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures during this council meeting. So I thank you and acknowledge the presence in the chamber of Mr. Alan Doolan, a very long-serving member of the Temora Shire Council family, and we'll acknowledge you formally very soon, Mr. Doolan, so welcome. Councillors, we now proceed to the next part of our meeting, this being the first meeting of our newly adopted Code of Conduct, and I will deliver the acknowledgement of country. As we begin our meeting today, Temora Shire councillors, our senior staff and I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of Temora Shire's land and waters, the Wiradjuri people. We pay our heartfelt respect to their elders, both past and present, acknowledging the role they have and will continue to play as members of our Temora Shire community, a special place we all proudly call home. Thank you. Councillors, we now proceed to our prayer, and I'd ask you to please bow your heads in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for us being here today as Temora Shire councillors and staff and as members of the community to consider and deliberate the business of Temora Shire to help strengthen this place that we love and that we cherish so much. And please also allow our community to be aware that we're here to serve them with a full heart, and we give our all to our respective roles in Temora Shire Council and are proud to do so. Heavenly Father, please give us the strength and the grace to continue to consider the items that are in our business paper today, and give us the love and strength to continue to do the good work that we strive to do. And particularly as we reflect, Lord, on the year that was and the challenges that it's presented, but everyone has done their best to do good for Temora Shire and its citizens. And we ask that you please bless this meeting, bless every councillor, every staff member and every citizen and their families for good health and much happiness for 2023. And we ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, councillors. Do we have apologies from the Deputy Mayor? Councillor Sinclair is an apology. No further apologies. Someone move. Thank you, Councillor Bushell. Councillor Good moved and seconded that we approve that policy. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare that motion carried. Declaration of any interest, councillors, at this time. Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Item 8.7, the Traffic Committee. In the Traffic Committee, it's 4.3, the redevelopment of the flour mill. Pecuniary interest.
Thanks very much, Councillor Good. That is noted. Go to Councillor McLaren.
Non-pecuniary interest, an item in confidential.
Thank you, Councillor McLaren. Nothing further at this point. Thank you. Now, I'd like to invite up to the front of the chamber, please, our special guests for this meeting, Mr. Alan Doolan and Mr. Rodney Oliver. If you could come forward, please. This is being recorded. Thank you very much, councillors, members of senior staff. We're delighted to have in the chamber today two senior members of the Temora Shire Council family. They have served, both of them, for 40 years with Temora Shire Council And that is an outstanding record, and one of which each and every one of us are so very proud of and very grateful for. To you, Mr. Dool, and to Mr. Oliver, please accept the warm thanks of Council, not just the current Temora Shire, but all those that you've served with from day one, which I know I'll ask Councillor Judd to speak a little later. Having been here since day one of Temora Shire, every citizen also extends their warm and deep appreciation to you both. It is an outstanding commitment, and it warms the heart to be able to present to you today on behalf of councillors, your fellow staff members and every citizen, these what we consider to be very special tokens of our warm appreciation and esteem. So to you, Mr. Doolan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Holden. Thank you. So if we could please show our appreciation to I'd like to ask Mr. Doolan to say a few words, then followed by Council Oliver, Mr. Oliver, and then I'll invite Councillor Judd, who has been on council the same duration. So, Mr. Doolan.
Oh, thank you, Rick, councillors, for the appreciation of it. Yeah, been here a fair while, and I think I would have woke up on here, but no, it's been good working for the council. And, yeah, we've seen a lot of changes and a lot of different things. But yeah, thank you.
No, well done. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick and the councillors. I'd like to say it's been lovely working with the Shire. Sometimes it's been sort of difficult, but you get straightened up the straight way, sort of thing. So, but I've enjoyed myself being here for 40 years, and that's
Great.
Yep.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you very much, and we wish you and all your loved ones nothing but the best for Christmas. We look forward to having a lemonade with you at the Christmas party tomorrow. So, so thank you very much, and again, all the best. Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Oh, sorry, gentlemen. Before you go, Before you're excused, I'd like to invite Councillor Judd, who has been in this chamber since 1981, to say a few words of reflection. Thank you, Councillor Judd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the good notice, short notice. To Alan and Rodney, congratulations for working for 40 years. We are the generation that, when we talk on a job like the Shire or whatever, you know, it's nearly a job for life. And that's probably a little bit different to today's younger people when they take on a job. They're looking to probably go for a little while and change jobs. But congratulations to you for sticking it out. We really appreciate our long-term employees. And it does worry me sometimes when people like yourself are retiring, you know, all that experience on the grader or the trucks and all this sort of thing, that we're losing that. And, you know, are we going to get our young men to be able to do it? So it's a great loss. And anyway, so all good things come to an end. I wish you all the best. Have a good retirement. And thanks for all your service to
No, thank you, Councillor Judd. You did well without any warning, so that's really great. And thanks again to you two gentlemen. Thank you. You're welcome to stay if you'd like. Thank you very much, councillors, and Councillor Judd, thank you particularly for sharing your reflections at short notice. So thank you. Councillors, we now proceed to the confirmation of the previous minutes, the November meeting of Temora Shire Council. Does someone that was present care to move that they be received as true and correct? Hang on. Councillor Judd?
No.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Irvine?
We haven't seen the minutes.
So the minutes were uploaded yesterday.
To where?
So, okay, so the delay in the minutes being uploaded, can we just have the microphone on because this is being recorded, please?
I think it was overlooked, the minutes being uploaded.
Oh,
I
okay,
believe,
so
yeah.
we've inadvertently overlooked? Okay, thank you. So if council are happy to, we can set aside those minutes for consideration for the January meeting. Council happy with that? Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And again, we apologise, but again, it can't be helped on this occasion. Let's go to a mayoral minute. The mayoral minute. Can we ask the General Manager? Thank you. The mayoral minute for December. Number 1. Council will reflect on our recent adoption of acknowledgement of country as part of the Code of Meeting Practice. Whilst this certainly created a great deal of discussion both publicly and privately, Council have resolved to include this acknowledgement going forward. I spent considerable time working on a draft acknowledgement to present to councillors with the kind assistance of others. And to this end, I thank Council for agreeing to the acknowledgement of country I delivered just a moment ago. The words I've just read was taken to both a workshop and committee meeting and was endorsed by Council. I now recommend to Council that we review the acknowledgement of country in December of 2023 to determine if the acknowledgement continues to be appropriate in terms of its wording, etc. Number 2, I wish to clarify to Council and our Temora Shire community the long-standing issue of heavy vehicle alternate routes. As many would be aware, Temora Shire Council has been working very hard on this issue for over 2 decades. And to suggest it's not an easy fix would be a significant understatement. In recent times, a councillor, namely Councillor Irvine, has raised his suggestion of an alternate heavy vehicle route. And this councillor is fully entitled to do so, it must be said. However, this proposal is from Councillor Irvine, not a council-adopted position, as many seem to believe. Council have referred this suggestion together with the other 3 options that Council have at present. The heavy vehicle alternate route is not a new issue for Council, far from it. This Council, together with previous councils, have worked tirelessly on this issue, and we will continue to do so. Council does sincerely extend our apologies for the worry and concern that recent debate has caused. However, this Council will remain fully committed to working hard as a Council, together with our community, to find a suitable solution with minimal amount of impact to residents. Number 3, it is Council's very real pleasure to have formally acknowledged today 2 of our longest serving members of staff in Mr Alan Doolan and Mr Rodney Oliver. Both gentlemen have served Temora Shire Council in our community for 40 years. This is a significant commitment of service, and I place on record formally Council and our community's warm gratitude to both Mr Doolan and Mr Oliver. Their commitment as dedicated members of our outdoor staff is outstanding, and we thank them for their service. Finally, I would like to thank every councillor, our General Manager, our directors, managers and all of our indoor and outdoor staff. Thank you for your exceptional service to Temora Shire Council and our community over this past year. Once again, the year has presented us with challenges, particularly the flooding events that wreaked havoc across sections of our sealed and unsealed road network. However, I know that each of you give your best to serve the citizens to the best of your ability. And I wish all of Council, together with every member of our cherished Temora Shire community, a very happy and holy Christmas. And I know that 2023 will be another hectic one, especially with the recruitment process to find our new General Manager to commence. However, I firmly believe our new year will be filled with even more exciting projects for us to immerse ourselves in. And I thank you for your solid support of me as your Mayor, and please know it's never ever taken for granted. And councillors, there is a recommendation there that I will move that the mayoral minute be noted and that Council review the acknowledgement of country in December of 2023. And I will move that way. Is there a seconder? Councillor Judd, thank you. Moved, seconded. Further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare that carried. And I thank Council very much. Councillors, let's now proceed to your business paper. And that commences on page 11. the Youth Advisory Committee report, and I was the chairman. Someone prepared to move that the report be received? Councillor Bushell, thank you. Councillor Good, thank you. Moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Items out of the report. Councillor Bushell, do you have anything you wish to highlight? No. Thank you. Any other councillor? If not, there's some great work, councillors, being done. I know you've all shared that with me and with others, and we're very proud of our team and the participants, and look forward to it growing even more in 2023. Is someone prepared to move the Youth Advisory Committee report and its recommendations? Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Councillor Reinhold. Moved, seconded. Further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. I thank you. Councillors, over to page 22, minutes of the Signage Committee. And I was the acting chairman of that committee in the absence of the regular chairman, Councillor Reinhold. Councillor Irvine.
Pecuniary interest in a matter in this, I'll step out.
Thank you. So Councillor Irvine is stepping out of the chamber, declaring interest in relation to 4.1, Indigenous Acknowledgement of Council Signage. So we can just consider that one for the moment, and then deal with that and bring Councillor Irvine back to the chamber.
Motion receiving report?
Yes, please. Thank you, Councillor Judd. Councillor Judd's moving that we receive the report. Second, Councillor Reinhold. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. 4.1, Indigenous Acknowledgement Council Signage. There's the report and recommendations there for Council to consider. Any comments or questions? Yeah, I mean, councillors, this, remember, isn't locking us into to anything. I know that this seems to be departing from what former Councillor Slowe was saying, as he sort of wanted an inexpensive version. However, this is just looking at other options. So in relation to 4.1, the Indigenous Acknowledgement on Council Signage, Councillor Judd.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. No, the point was made that especially the boundary signage is relatively new, and they don't lend themselves to being amended or added to, and in this case it would be better just to add a supplementary sign, and when those signs become renewed in years to come, we may be able to combine the two things then, but at the moment this is the best way to go.
Thanks, Councillor Judd. Any further comment or discussion in relation to the recommendation 4.1, which appears on page 24? If not, is someone prepared to move just that recommendation in relation to 4.1, Indigenous Acknowledgement on Council Signage? Councillor McLaren, Councillor Oliver, moved and seconded. Further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thanks, Councillor Oliver. We get back Councillor Irvine to the chamber. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Irvine. During your temporary absence, in relation to 4.1, Indigenous Acknowledgement on Council Signage, Councillor McLaren and Councillor Oliver have moved and seconded that the recommendation as presented be adopted, and it was carried unanimously. Thank you very much. The remainder of the Signage Committee report and its recommendations, councillor, is someone prepared to move their adoption, or is there an alternate? Councillor Oliver?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll move the rest of the report. Thank you.
Thank you. So Councillor Oliver is moving the remainder of the Signage Committee report and recommendation be adopted. Seconded, Councillor Reinhold. Moved and seconded. All those of discussion? If no further discussion, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare the motion carried, and I thank you. Councillors, let's proceed over to page 58, the Access and Equity Committee meeting. Before I ask for the report to be received, I might ask the General Manager or the Director of Admin and Finance to advise in relation to the minutes in the business paper today on the screen. If we can articulate that, please.
The minutes will be delayed in being uploaded to the web page because Microsoft 365 has done an update and has corrupted the templates for the minutes. So Info Council is working on it and they've been working on it since Tuesday. So for today, they've done me a quick fix of minutes which don't have any attachments to any of the committee reports. So it could be a few days before they are uploaded after today's finished.
Thank you. That was the voice of our Executive Assistant, Mrs Anne Rands. And we thank Mrs Rands for the update. Councillors, could we please have a motion to receive the Access and Equity Committee report? Councillor Good, thank you. Seconder for the motion, please. Councillor Bushell, thank you. Moved, seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. For the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, you have a report there from that committee and its recommendations for you to consider. Is someone prepared to move the report and recommendations, or is there an alternative? Councillor Good?
I'll move that recommendation.
Thank you. So Councillor Good's moving that the reports and the recommendations for the Access and Equity Committee be adopted. Is there a seconder for the motion, please? Councillor Bushell, thank you. Moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? If there's no further discussion, I'm going to put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare that motion carried, and thank you. Councillors, let's go over to page 80, and that is the Assets and Operations Committee report, and I was the acting chairman in the absence of the Deputy Mayor. And is someone prepared to move that that report is received, please? Councillor Good, Councillor McLaren, moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, you have there the report and its recommendations from the Assets and Operations Committee. I do acknowledge, and I know Council have indicated as well, how informative that the Federal Assistance Grants reports commencing on page 81, how informative it was. So thank you, Mr General Manager. I'm going to go now to Councillor McLaren.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In relation to 4.1, there was an item in the previous minutes that we write regarding this issue, and as the minutes haven't been adopted, I'd like to lay 4.1 on the table until the minutes are confirmed, because this relates directly to a motion that was passed at that meeting.
The minutes are going to be moved at the January meeting because they didn't only uploaded yesterday.
Oh, right.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor McLaren. So you're moving that we lay on the table 4.1 to be considered at January. Second for the motion, please. Councillor Reinhold, thank you. Moved and seconded. Discussion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. I declare that motion carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, the remainder of the Assets and Operations Committee report, recommendations, is Councillor Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. Just item 4.2, the electric vehicle charging assessment. It's in the notes, it was sort of mentioning hotels and motels, but in our resolution there's no mention of hotels or motels in the resolution. I'd just like to see that included in the resolution so it doesn't get lost.
Thank you, Councillor Oliver. So in relation to page 95, the resolution, or the recommendation rather, suggesting that take no action in relation to the charging sites identified. Further, council staff investigate costs associated with EV charging at the airport caravan park in preparations for a potential grant application in April of 2023. The EV charger would nationally cover the caravan park, airport cabins and Temora Aviation Museum. Pardon? And further, council worked with local service station owners regarding the potential installation of grant opportunities for installation of ultra-fast chargers, and local motel owners regarding potential installation grant opportunities for installation of destination charging infrastructure. Is that, are you happy with that, Councillor Oliver, or
yes.
Would you like it
Sorry,
strengthened?
Mr Mayor, I didn't, I must have overlooked that.
No. There's lots of words to read, Councillor Oliver, so thank you very much. Councillors, you have the report and its recommendations for the Assets and Operations Committee, and someone's prepared to move that they be adopted, or is there an alternative? Councillor Good.
I'll move that they be adopted, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Good has moved that the Assets and Operations Committee report and recommendations be adopted. Is there a seconder? Councillor Judd, thank you. Moved, seconded. Is there further discussion? If not, I will put the motion. All those of that opinion... Oh, sorry, Councillor Good.
I was
Discussion.
just going to make a comment. Some time ago, I contacted Tesla about charging stations. They did have a scheme at that stage where they would provide the charging for you. You just had to install it yourself. I will forward those details on to the director.
Excellent.
So she can follow that up.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Councillor Good. That would be very helpful. Okay, thank you, councillors. Let's move over to page 206, the minutes of the Economic Development Visitations Committee report. I was the acting chairman for that one in the absence of our chairman, Councillor McLaren, and someone prepared to move that report be received. Councillor McLaren, Councillor Bushell moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Councillors, the report is there for you to consider. I'll go to Councillor McLaren.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to comment on item 4.1, the Regional Housing Delivery Plan, and say what an exciting thing that is to focus on the regional housing needs and I look forward to the next 6 months. Thank you.
Exactly. Thanks, Councillor McLaren. Councillors, you have a report, recommendations there from the Economic Development Visitations Committee. Is someone prepared to move those recommendations, or is there an alternate? Councillor Irvine.
I'll move that way.
Thank you. Councillor Irvine's moving that the Economic Development Visitations Committee report and recommendations be adopted. Is there a seconder for the motion, please? Councillor Reinhold, thank you. Moved, seconded. Further discussion? There's no further discussion. I go to Councillor Reinhold.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just with the ADF Parachute School, I'd just like to thank them for the leftover supplies that were donated to the community centre. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Councillor Reinhold. I now go to Councillor Irvine.
Yeah, and just to follow up with some regional development in the space of the intermodal freight hub at Wagga, that's now open and active. And it puts us between Parks and Wagga in respect to these two significant developments. So hopefully we can leverage something out of either way or just from proximity.
Thank you, Councillor Irvine. I moved and seconded that the Economic Development Visitations Committee report and its recommendations be adopted. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare that motion carried, and I thank you. Councillors, let's go over to page 229, the minutes of the Aerodrome Users Committee report, and this time Councillor Judd was the chairman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As chairman, I'd like to move that the report be received, please.
Thank you. Councillor Judd has moved the report's received. Seconded. Councillor McLaren moved. Seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. On the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. I'll go to Councillor Judd.
I'll just highlight one item, that's 4.2, and with the new 1836 runway that's been upgraded, I'd like to put on record my congratulations and thanks to our assets engineering manager. We had a target date of possible warbirds this year, and the manager and all his staff have worked tirelessly all the year, despite all the wet weather and things going backwards. You know, they were able to have the runway ready in time for warbirds. As you can see by the report, since then there has been a little bit of bleeding of the bitumen on some of the joints, but the manager thinks that we can monitor that over the summer, and hopefully it will settle down for next year. And luckily we've got an alternate taxiway in that now, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. And well done to the manager. So.
Thanks very much, Councillor Judd, and I'm sure Council and the whole chamber would endorse those very sincere words. And to you, Mr Engineering Assets Manager, well done, and your team, and keep up the good work, and lap these compliments up while they're there. Thank you. Councillors, anything further of the Aerodrome Users Committee report? If not, is someone prepared to move the report and its recommendations, please, or unless there's an alternate? Councillor Judd, Councillor Oliver, thank you. Moved, seconded. Further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare that motion carried, and I thank Council. Councillors, let's go over to page 238, the minutes of the Temora Shire Council's Traffic Committee. And I'm the chairman of that committee, and if someone is prepared to move that that report is received, please. Councillor McLaren, Councillor Oliver, moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Discussion on the recommendations of the report.
Mr. Mayor,
Councillor Good.
I need to declare a pecuniary interest, and I'll leave the chamber.
Thank you. In relation to...
4.3.
Yes, thank you. In relation to 4.3, Councillor Good is declaring an interest, and that is in relation to development application, adaptive reuse of former flour mill as hotel, brewery and function centre, and Councillor Good has vacated the chamber. Councillors, is there any comments or questions in relation to the report and recommendations? If not, is someone prepared to move the report and the recommendations for the Traffic Committee? Councillor Irvine, you're moving that way?
Yeah, I'll move that way.
Thank you. Second for the motion, please. Councillor Judd, thank you. Moved by Councillor Irvine, seconded Councillor Judd, that the Traffic Committee report and recommendations be adopted. There's no further discussion. I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare the motion carried. Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Thank you. Welcome back, Councillor Good, to the chamber. During your temporary absence, Council considered the report in relation to the Temora Shire Council's Traffic Committee, and in relation to 4.3 and the remainder of the report, Council adopted those recommendations unanimously. Thank you. Councillors, that is all the committee reports that we have. We now proceed to delegates' reports. Over to page 262 of the business paper. Do we have delegates' reports at this time, please? Councillor Judd.
I've got delegate reports, but I was going to do an information paper.
Yep, okay. Thank you, Councillor Judd. Councillor, just a couple of things for you. In relation to REROC, we had a board meeting, our last one for the year, in Wagga Wagga last Friday. And as you know, we were meeting to formally consider the responses from our member councils in relation to the joint organisation status. And I can formally advise Council that as from the 1st of July 2023, that the Riverina Joint Organisation will formally go into hiatus, and all of the roles of the JO will then go back into REROC, the Riverina Eastern Regional Organisation of Councils. We are yet to hear from Wagga Wagga City in relation to what they wish to do. I will point out that we have been advised that they had been trying to seek another council to go with them, which, if that is correct, I take a very dim view of that. If that in fact is correct, I'm awaiting the Mayor of Wagga Wagga to return my calls, and I'm sure that call will come in due course. However, that will be a matter for Wagga Wagga, what they wish to do. They can't form another JO because this one still exists, and the board will still meet a minimum of 4 times a year, and REROC will continue to do those roles as from the 1st of July next year. In the meantime, the JO and REROC will continue to work side by side. But I want to thank this council very, very much for your tremendous patience, but your support of where we've landed. We have written to the Minister and the Government to advise, and all the MPs that cover the REROC footprint, to advise them of that decision. And so we're just one of 4, and there's others that will be following. The Shadow Minister for Local Government for New South Wales, Mr Warren, reiterated that it is his view that the one-size-fits-all model does not work, and he will facilitate those that wish to continue in a JO, those that wish to be in a ROC or an alliance, that if he was minister he would facilitate that, which was met with much glee. But the current minister, Minister Tuckerman, has indicated that she would like to see others that have withdrawn and are thinking about it to come back to the JO structure. And I also note, councillors, that the Mrs Ali Dench, who was the Executive Director of the Office of Local Government, has resigned, and that will take effect at some point in January. I spoke to her the other day to thank her for her contributions from Temora Shire Council's perspective and the Riverina region. We may have butted heads on occasions, but I think that Mrs Dench had local government at heart, and she wanted to do the best that she could with the limited resources that OLG currently have. And I felt it important to mention that. So she did thank us for those good wishes and asked me to pass on to you her thanks and her best wishes for Christmas to all of you. Councillors, the only other thing in delegates' reports I wanted to mention of the New South Wales Country Mayors, we're currently meeting with the leaders of the state political parties. We've met with the Greens, the Nationals leaders, and we're meeting with Labor tomorrow, and Shooters and Fishers, if they still exist. So just to outline the state election priorities, which councils will be furnished with copies of in due course, and that focuses around skills, housing, road disaster preparedness, the Red Fleet issue, health, crime, law and order, and water security. So those documents will be furnished to council in due course, but I'm very excited with the response we've received to date. So those are my delegates' reports. Any further delegates' reports? If no further delegates' reports, could we please go over to page 263, the Mayor's Report for November. And there's a recommendation, councillors, on page 266 that the Mayor's Report be noted. Thank you, Councillor Reinhold, moving that way, the recommendation. Seconded, Councillor Good. Thank you, moved and seconded. Further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare that motion carried. Thank you. Page 267, motion receive staff reports, please. Councillor Judd, Councillor Bushell moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Councillors, we go over to page 268. The General Manager's Report, 12.1, Calendar of Events. The General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, as you see, the calendar of events for the next 2 months. Just a couple of events I would like to point out there is tomorrow, as been previously mentioned, at 12:30 at the Bowling Club. There's the council's staff Christmas party. Of course, all councillors are invited. There's also the following day, on the Saturday, the swimming pool opening around at the Rec Centre at 12 noon, and then on Monday at 4:40 the opening of the runway upgrade. So if any councillors can get to that, really appreciate it.
Thank you. The only other event that I would ask to be included is Australia Day after the Gloucester Park. There's also the traditional breakfast at Davey Park and Area Park, please, if we can add that, Mr General Manager. Thank you. Councillors, there's a recommendation on page 268 the calendar events be noted with those reminders and adjustments. Thank you, Councillor Good, moving the recommendation. Second, Councillor Oliver. Thank you, moved. Seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. I declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, over to page 269, 12.2, the Model Code of Conduct. The General Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. As you can see there, councillors, within 12 months of an ordinary election, we're required by section 447 to re-adopt or adopt the Model Code of Conduct. We were hoping, as it says in a lot of the documentation, that The new code would be available, but it's not as yet. Although I did note that yesterday the Minister sent out this document, which is focused on civil responsibility. It's called Councillor Conduct Accountability in New South Wales, and that will be the basis of the new Code of Conduct. So I would expect that there would be there's 49 recommendations, I think, 47 or 49, and the government will consider those, put those into the new code, the ones that they adopt, and we would expect it, I would think, by March, April, that sort of period, to see a new code, and then we'll do a workshop on that.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr General Manager. Councillors, that's the report, and there's a recommendation there for Council to consider that Council adopt the Model Code of Meeting Practice and the procedures for administration of the Model Code of Meeting Practice as required of the Local Government Act 1993. Councillor Irvine.
Yeah, just, is that a typo in the recommendation? I think it's referring to the Model Code of Conduct instead.
Yes, you're correct. Model Code.
Thank you. That's very good that these are being read by councillors. Thank you. Thank you very much. That amendment, is Council happy to move that recommendation, or is there an alternate? Councillor Good?
Mr Mayor, I'll move that recommendation.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Irvine. Seconding the motion. Moved and seconded. Further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, over to page 350. Oh, sorry. Is there anything of an urgent, late nature from the General Manager, please?
No, Mr Mayor. The only thing I would like to ask Council, it has been Council's practice in previous years not to have January committee meetings because of difficulties getting people there. Are Council happy to continue that process?
Thank you. Council happy with that? That has been the current practice. So if we have consensus, and then we'll have our January council meeting as normal. Okay. Thank you. Consensus. Very good. Thanks very much. Now we'll go over to page 351, the Engineering Services Department report, 13.1, Christmas decorations, Kitchener Road concerns. The Engineering Works Manager.
Thank you. Through you, Mr Mayor. This report is as presented. I don't really have anything to add, but maybe in terms of the Christmas decoration side of things, either the Engineering Asset Manager or the Director of Environmental Services might want to speak about that.
Thank you, Mr Manager. Councillors, the report is there for you to consider. Certainly that in relation to the Christmas decorations, I think Councillor Reinhold managed to get it into the budget some years ago. However, it's a good starting point for it to make the draft budget estimates. However, when we're looking at every penny, they've been given the short shift over recent times. However, Council may wish to place it back into budget estimates for consideration, or not. Councillor Reinhold, I can see that you're chomping at the bit to... Councillor Reinhold.
Look, they're woeful. I'm terribly sorry, but yes, if we could try again.
So, Councillor Reinhold, would you like to move that we refer the Christmas decorations issue to budget estimates in terms of costings of potential suitable replacements?
Yes, and if I could ask if they could look into, I saw the Director of Environmental Services wrote a letter about the festoon lights, that we can't do them across the street. But I was in Canberra several years ago, and they had just individual big solar lights hanging in trees, so there wasn't strings of them, and I thought that might be an alternative, and you just leave them there year round.
Thank you, Councillor Reinhold. If you're happy, we can include that as part of the considerations, investigations. So you're moving that way. Second, Councillor Judd. Moved, seconded. On that issue, just in relation to Christmas decorations, discussion on that motion, Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. In relation to the festoon lights, Narendra, as you know, I've got an office in Narendra, and Narendra have festoon lights that they replaced from memory 2 or 3 years ago, and they are off the light poles. And I've sent a copy of a photo to the Director of the Director of Environmental Services. So that may be something we could raise with Essential Energy again.
No, thanks very much, Councillor Good. That can help form part of those investigations if the motion's passed. So, councillors, if there's no further discussion on that motion, just in relation to item 1, Christmas decorations, I'll put that to you, which I'll just read it again on the motion of Councillor Ryan or Councillor Judd, that Council forwards the costings of suitable Christmas decorations to the draft budget estimates for consideration. Councillor Good, are you okay? You agreeing in a very unique way? As long as you're all right. I'll put that motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no, and declare that motion carried, and thank you. Now, councillors, in relation to the Kitchener Road, are you wishing to put a recommendation or noting the report? I'll go to Councillor McLaren.
Just a question for the engineering asset manager. Is there a drain pipe that goes under the road, and what's the diameter of that pipe?
Thank you.
Is it significant for ducks?
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor McLaren. We'll go to the Minister for Ducks, the Assets Engineering Manager.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Listen, I can't tell you the diameter off the top of my head, but it'd be minimum 450 mil, so, yeah.
Thank you, Mr Manager. Go now to Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move that the report be noted.
Thank you. Councillor Good, move the report be noted. Second to Councillor Oliver. Moved, seconded. Discussion on the motion. I go to Councillor Irvine.
Just to the Director of Assets, is there any...
The Manager of Assets, you mean?
Yep.
Yep.
Is there any stormwater implications from the proposed development at Highfields in relation to that Kitchener Road works, whereby stormwater is going to have to be moved along the edge of Bundawarra Road?
I go to the Assets Engineering Manager.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I don't believe so. I believe that anything that comes off Highfield stays on the eastern side of the Bundawarra Road. This has definitely been modelled for stormwater, so I'd have to go back and check that, but I don't believe so.
Thank you. Councillors, if there's no further discussion, I'm going to put the motion, and that is that the remainder of the report be noted. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare that motion carried. Thank you very, very much. Councillors, we now I beg your pardon. Do either of the engineering services managers have any urgent late items, please? No, thank you. No. And we do acknowledge that the Assets Engineering Manager has come into this meeting on his annual leave. So Council says a very warm thank you. And wasn't doing anything else. No, we do appreciate it. We really do. Now, let's go, councillors, to page 376, the Environmental Services Report, 14.1, the Local Orders Policy. The Director.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. This is the final step in the review of the Local Orders Policy. It's been on public exhibition and no comments received.
Thanks, Mr Director. I go now to Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move the recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Good's moving the recommendation that indicates that Council adopt the Local Orders Policy as exhibited. Is there a seconder for the motion, please? Councillor Bushell, thank you. Moved, seconded. Is there further discussion? If there's no further discussion, I'll put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare that motion carried. I thank you. Mr Director of Environmental Services, do you have anything of an urgent late nature, please?
No, I don't, Mr Mayor.
No, thank you. And Council takes this opportunity to thank you, Mr Director, and the Town Planner and all in that department a warm thanks for your contributions, and likewise the Engineering Services Manager and the department. We're very proud of our staff, and we might have some robust discussions from time to time, but Council will have your backs, and proud of your contributions. So thank you. Let's go to page 396. The Department of Administration and Finance, and of course the Director is home after 2 weeks of well-earned annual leave. And Madam Director, do you still have nil to report?
That's correct, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. The Director, of course, you asked me to remind Council of all the copious amounts of reports over the last several months. So we will keep that in mind, Madam Director. But it is great to have you back in the saddle. Councillors, let's now go to page 397, correspondence. 16.1, the Red Cross, the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As you can see there, councillors, the Red Cross bus that comes here for the blood donations, they've requested 4 visits this year: January, April, July and October. They provide the service from outside Catalyst Accounting in Loftus Street, and have done so for quite some time.
Thanks very much. And it's interesting to note, councillors, that when you read there that the Temora Shire Communities enabled Australian Red Cross Lifeblood to collect 328 donations for 2022, which saved 984 lives. That was a very powerful statement, and thank you for sharing that. Councillor Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to grant approval for those proposed dates for the Red Cross to do their blood service.
Thank you. So Councillor Oliver is moving that we grant approval. Seconded, Councillor Good. Moved, seconded. Is there further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion to. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Page 398, 16.2, the Bettrick Rocks mobile stage, the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is an event that's been held at Bettrick Recreation Area previously in the hall, at the hall. They've requested the use of the mobile stage. That's on the 18th of March 2023. The cost is $400, which would come out of the budget remaining in donations.
Thank you very much, Mr General Manager. Councillor Judd.
I'm happy to approve.
Thank you. So Councillor Judd's moving to accede to the request by donating the higher fees of the new mobile stage back to the Bettrick Recreation Trust. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor McLaren. Moved, seconded. Is there discussion on the motion? Councillor Oliver.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. My wife and I attended this last Bettrick Rocks thingo, and for a first crack at it, it was run reasonably well. There was a few little minor hiccups though, but the whole thing was a real good, feel-good, type of a show. So yeah, I'd recommend anyone, if you've got nothing on, go out and attend it. It's great. So thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thanks very much, Councillor. I know my parents went out too, being like you, former Bettrick folk, and they just echo those sentiments. I will note that how the Director of Admin and Finance, how our donations budget with 6 months to go is there's certainly not a heck of a lot there, but anyway, we'll do our best. The General Manager.
Just on that, Mr Mayor, that you're right in saying that there's not much left, but it's not a linear relationship. It's something that a lot of the donations come out at the beginning of the year, and you find it tapers off towards the end of the year. So it's not as bad as it looks.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr General Manager. Well, councillors, there's a motion from Councillor Judd and Councillor McLaren that Council accede to the request from the Bettrick Reserve Trust. If there's no further discussion, I'm going to put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. I declare that motion carried. Thank you. Over to page 400, 16.3, the Cycle Road Races event, the General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is Cootamundra Cycle Club. They've held a number of events that enter into Temora Shire territory. As you can see, they're looking out the road, the old Cootamundra Road and the Dernasia Road. so it comes into Morayshire and then back out again. Really, they can go on the roads with no problems. It's just the holding up traffic at the intersections, and they will have appropriately qualified people and insurance for the event.
Thank you, Mr General Manager. I'll go to Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move the recommendation.
Thank you. So Councillor Good's moving the recommendation, and that is that Council approve the request. Seconder for the motion, any cycle enthusiasts or not? Councillor Reinhold, thank you. Moved and seconded. Further discussion? If not, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. I'll declare that motion carried, and thank you very much. Councillors, let's go over the page, would you believe, to none other than 439, 16.4, the Bundawarra Centre, the General Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. And these councils can all be dealt with as one application, essentially, and that's for the 50th annual live exhibition. You can see there the cost. There is a road closure involved. There's a few things that they want to borrow off us, like the exclusion panels and the traffic control paddles and so on. But the total cost of that event is $1,185. Thank you,
Mr General Manager. Councillors, there's the report of 50th annual live exhibition. That's a mighty fine milestone for them to achieve, and we look forward to being a part of that in whatever capacity. Councillor Good.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I move that we consent to each of their requests.
Thank you. So Councillor Good is moving that we accede to the request. The General Manager.
Just want to clarify that will be to the holding of the event, the closure of the road, and the lease or the loan of the equipment.
That's correct.
Yep.
Thank you, Councillor Good. Is there a seconder for the motion, please? Councillor Reinhold, thank you. Moved and seconded. Is there further discussion? If not, I will put the motion to you. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. I declare that motion carried. Thank you very much. Council, let's go over to page 444, 16.5, the Area Park Stray Day Ceremony 2023. The General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This is the Australia Day ceremony at Area Park. They're asking to for the $50 fee to be waived, but I would say that there is a budget in council to cover this, so it really doesn't need to come to council. But
do you need a motion, Mr General Manager, to approve the event?
I think that would be good,
yeah.
Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Reinhold, Councillor Judd. Moved and seconded that council grant approval for the Area Park community to host their traditional Area Park Stray Day breakfast on Thursday, the 26th of January next year. No further discussion. If not, I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. And declare the motion carried. Thank you very much. Let's go over to page 445, 16.6, event application for General Manager.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. On a similar note, this is actually funded by grants, so it doesn't need the $50 to be waived, but it's a good opportunity to mention the event, which is a cooee for Marie, and Coralie McKenzie and a team have done an absolutely sensational job on this, and I think it'll be extremely popular when it comes around in February.
Thank you, Mr General Manager. So there's nothing required from council, is that what you're suggesting? Because it's funded by a state government grant?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. So perhaps you don't need to note the report, or?
Yeah, you can note it.
Someone like to move that we note that report. Thank you, Councillor Oliver. Councillor Reinhold moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. The contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very, very much. Any urgent late items of correspondence from... Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. I now go to Councillor Reinhold.
Oh, just to endorse what the General Manager said, and I think that is the kick-off for the Drench program that the arts community are putting on, so a little plug for them.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Reinhold. Nothing of an urgent late nature from the General Manager in terms of correspondence, please.
No, Mr Mayor.
No, thank you very much. Councillors, we proceed to page 447, Notice of motion we've received a nil, and given that we've adopted a new code of meeting practice, the General Manager has advised that business without notice has to be changed, certainly from the advice we've received from our OLG after so many years of a relaxed attitude. So I'll go to the General Manager.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I know I spoke to you after the last meeting in relation to it.
Yeah.
But the code of meeting practice states that business may be considered a meeting only if its due notice has been given, or that a motion is passed to have the business considered at the meeting, and the business to be considered as ruled by the chairperson to be of great urgency on the ground that it requires a decision by council. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that that's the purpose of that, but anyway, that's what the code says.
Okay, so thank you. And I know, Councillor Judd, I've had some strong debates with the General Manager about this. However, we have been warned over the years, I must admit, from on high. And it seems that we have no option on this occasion. So that is unfortunate. So therefore, going forward, unless there is a genuine urgent item that requires a motion to have that matter considered or a notice of motion. I go to Councillor McLaren.
Oh, I just want to clarify the procedure then. If you have something you consider important business without notice, you put forward that the council move that we consider that business
as
notice
urgent,
of motion?
or requiring a decision.
2 steps. There's the chairperson who has to agree that it's urgent,
and
there's a motion passed by the council that it be considered. Okay, thank you.
And there has to be a decision made, though, doesn't it? There has to be an actual decision made, Mr. General
Yes,
Manager.
that's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Judd.
Similarly, if a council had some good information to tell council, how do we go about that?
Thank you, Councillor Judd. I asked the same question. The advice I've received is that we can send it out via email. I know, we love to share there's great stories. Like, I would have loved to have mentioned, Councillor Judd, that how proud we are of Councillor Good for being selected as a finalist in a state award. However, I can't say that. Yeah, I know, you do shake your head. But anyway, nonetheless, we'll do our best, councillors, and between us we'll get there. But again, if you have good news, please share it with us. And but again, that notices of motion, if it's something, or if it is a genuine urgent issue, please put it up, and council will either accept that or reject it. Okay, so thank you very much. That is a big change for this council, but we'll get there. Councillors, we go over the page to 448, councillors' information paper. Someone move that we receive the information paper, please. Councillor Judd, Councillor Good, moved, seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Items out of the information paper, Councillor Judd.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Item 19.1, the ITPA Southern Zone Forum at Cootamundra, which I attended alongside our Engineering Works Manager. It was a one-day conference, and the theme was realities of climate change. And, you know, with ever extremes of weather happening, I think it was a very important topic to be considered. As you can see, there are a number of good speakers, which were very interesting. One of the things that's coming up is, you know, the increasing, especially hot weather, and a couple of items there. There's a presentation by a firm called Super Sealing, who are, it's a water-based bitumen emulsion pavement preservation treatment designed to help reflect the sun rays. And in today's sporting weathers and walks and that, it's something like this we may have to consider on our treatment for our services in the future. And down a bit further on under Michael Timms, Road Safety and Climate Change, mentions that, you know, there's a conflict between trees on our roads but also we need trees around our roads to try and reduce the road temperature. And I was just watching a news item from Sydney the other night about, I think Lord Mayor Clover Moore was talking about the benefit of trees in Sydney in all suburban, urban environments, and she was saying that trees can lower the temperature by 10 degrees. So I think it's very important that even though we've got to look after trees and control where they are, we need to have trees in our environment as well. So, and the last point I'd like to go back to the starter report, and we had a presentation from our young engineers that are under 35 years of age, and our engineering works manager expressed a desire he'd like to go to conference next year, and as you can see, read it, there is possibly a scholarship to cover that conference, and I'd like to see our council endorse our engineering works manager to apply for that. And I'd probably say, well, even if he doesn't get the scholarship, I think we should send him anyway. So, yeah, I'd like to go and move that way, please.
You can move. Why we accept that motion, Councillor Judd, is because I note that the early bird ticket closes in mid-February, so I think there's a genuine argument that that is urgent business because we wish to save money to Moore Shire Council. So happy to receive your motion.
Yeah, I'm happy to move that we support our engineering works manager applying for scholarship for the IPA conference in Sydney, and even if unsuccessful, that we still support him going to the conference anyway. So yeah, I'll move that way.
Thank you, Councillor Judd. Second to Councillor McLaren. Moved and seconded. Discussion on the motion. Sorry. Discussion on the motion. The General Manager, are you happy with the motion before us in relation to staff?
Absolutely. I would strongly encourage the professional staff to attend their conferences.
Thank you. Councillor Bushell. Oh, sorry. Councillor Judd.
Sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Bushell.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I did highlight that this morning late with you this morning to
You did.
get Nigel to highlight it, and I'm so glad that you moved that motion because that was the incentive that I wanted to come forward to. So
Yeah,
thank
sorry.
you.
Thank you, Councillor Bushell. I apologise. Yes, you did do that, and thank you very much for endorsing the motion warmly. Well, if there's no further discussion, I think, Councillor, we better ask the Engineering Works Manager, would you like to attend if this motion passes or not?
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor. Definitely keen on that in terms of especially a networking point of view for other professionals, regardless so much of what the presentations are. I'm sure there'll be some good presentations on the agenda, but just the value of networking and discussing with others similar problems to what we have is definitely a benefit as well.
Thank you, Mr Manager. Councillor Judd, Councillor Good, did you wish to add that we also receive a lengthy report on the conference from the manager? No? Okay, I was just suggesting. Okay, I'll put the motion to council, and that is on the motion of Councillor Judd and Councillor McLaren, I beg your pardon, that council resolved to support the Engineering Works Manager in applying for scholarship to attend the IPWEA conference, and further that if unsuccessful in receiving scholarship, council approve the Engineering Works Manager's attendance at the conference. I'll put the motion. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Councillor Judd.
Speaking of reports, just a little bit of history. Years ago, long ago, council, we had a weeds officer, and someone said, well, you really need to put in a report. So next meeting, we had 5-6 pages of reports going to the conference. And
careful what you wish for.
Yeah, so.
No, thanks, Councillor Judd. And look, thank you for that detailed report that you furnished for council as well. Councillors, any other items in the information paper for you to consider or comment on? If not, Councillor, before I put the motion in relation to confidential, again to Mr Wilson, who it is his last meeting, thank you very much for your contributions not just for Temora Shire Council, but our wider community. And again, we wish you all the very, very best. Thank you. Councillors, in accordance with Section 10A of the Local Government Act 1993, I advise that there are several matters that are deemed confidential, and accordingly, I require a motion to have those matters considered, please. Councillor Bushell, Councillor Reinhold moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you. Thank you. Council, we resume into open council after considering closed confidential business. Now, councillors, I advise that the following motions have been brought forward from closed session into open session, and those resolutions are as follows. The motion to move into confidential business, that was moved on the motion of Councillor Bushell and Councillor Reinhold, that we proceed into closed session at 5:13 p.m, and the motion was carried. Minutes of the Access and Equity Committee meeting held on the 6th of December of 2022 on the motion of Councillor Bushell and Councillor Oliver. It was resolved that the reports be received and the motion was carried. The motion of Councillor Judd and Councillor Reinhold in relation to report 22-1506 Area Park portable ramps, it was resolved that Council support the concept in the location shown, but the ramps be stored off-site in Area Park where not required, and that the item be referred to Council's budget estimates for consideration. The motion was carried. On the motion of Councillor Bushell and Councillor Judd, it was resolved that the remainder of the reports and recommendations as presented be adopted, and the motion was carried. The minutes of the Assets and Operations Committee held on the 6th of December of 2022 on the motion of Councillor Oliver and Councillor Reinhold, it was resolved that the reports be received and the motion was carried. The motion of Councillor Oliver and Councillor Bushell, it was resolved that the reports and recommendations as presented be adopted. The motion was carried. The minutes of the Economic Development Visitations Committee held on the 6th of December 2022 on the motion of Councillor McLaren, Councillor Bushell, it was resolved that the reports be received and the motion was carried. The motion of Councillor Good and Councillor Judd, it was resolved that the reports and recommendations as presented be adopted and the motion was carried. The Temora Floodplain Risk Management Plan, on the motion of Councillor Good and Councillor Judd, it was resolved that Council provide approval for senior council staff to speak confidentially to potentially affected landowners regarding the role of their land in flood mitigation solutions in Temora, and further that the Engineering Assets Manager inquire with Lyle and Associates for indicative costs for alternative stormwater solutions and report back to Council, and that motion was carried. Apollo Place Development, the motion of Councillor McLaren. I beg your pardon. You'll edit this. Apollo Place Development. Councillor McLaren declared a pecuniary interest in relation to item REP 22-1583 due to being a member of the Dr. Parry Memorial Homes Committee. Councillor McLaren left the meeting at 5:50 p.m. and took no further part in the discussion. On the motion of Councillor Good and Councillor Irvine, it was resolved that the report be noted and the motion was carried. Councillor McLaren returned to the chamber at 6:04 p.m. On the motion of Councillor Oliver and Councillor Reinhold, it was resolved that Council moves the motion from closed business into open council, and the motion was carried. On the motion of Councillor Good and Councillor Judd, it was resolved that Council moves out of closed session and into open council. Did we do the motions, confidential motions? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Those are the confidential resolutions that have been brought forward, and I require a motion, please, to have those resolutions formally adopted. Councillor McLaren, Councillor Reinhold, moved and seconded. All those of that opinion, please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. Declare the motion carried. Thank you very much, councillors. There being no further business, thank you so much. We've had a big year, and I know that you all have a great Christmas, and we're going to have a ripper 2023. I just know it. It's so exciting to be part of Temora Shire, and again, my very warm wishes to each and every one of you, and thanks for your efforts during 2022. And I declare the meeting closed.